about $3 a month. And what else? Floor plan is included. With Matterport, they charge, I think, about $15 per floor plan. So that cost is nothing. And later, in Asia, we already have this, but we have a lot of cool functionality. But one being AI furniture staging for those who want that, and the cost is real low. I just saw. I just got back from this couple trade shows, and the cost on that is usually between $20 and $70 per picture. Ours will probably be like 12 or 10. So cost across the board will be less. But back to your initial question, yeah, whoever's scanning it, they'd have to buy a gimbal, and they're kind of on a pre-order right now. They're shipping a whole bunch over as we speak. And then, yeah, we'd coach them and they could scan. And so maybe you would want strategic partners that would have one. Again, someone has to scan it, but.
Hey, yeah, Alex, go ahead.
I was going to say, I might've misinterpreted. Like I had thought, Matt, I had thought that you guys were offering like you guys were offering it as a service rather than, did we just lose him? Oh, I think we just lost.
We just lost Matt.
Oh, was what I said that controversial? Holy moly.
Yeah. Oh, he'll jump back on. So you want somebody to service it.
I mean, it would have been interesting because like if it would have been an interesting alternative to like a full appraisal, like, like if we could combine, say, a Matterport type link with a BPO, right? And use that in lieu of like a full appraisal. I mean, a full appraisal in Seattle, right, will run you $1,000, say, if you have to rush it. Whereas like, you can do a BPO for like $300, plus if you could get like a Matterport link for an extra $100, you'll have some pretty decent savings there. And
hey, Alex, let me just tell you something. If you and me and Matt want to call, I'm sure that something can be built around what it is that you're requesting. But I don't want to like take up the whole time today on that, but that is, go ahead, say it one more time since
sorry, I hit the wrong button and left the meeting.
Go ahead, Alex.
I was going like, oh man, Matt, I didn't realize what I said was so controversial.
Yeah, it's way too offensive. I had him out. No.
No. Matt, I'm suggesting that we can build around, or that RealC, we might be able to collaborate between my network, your network, and what Alex needs. Because Matt, our network overlaps a lot, and we might be able to have a product or service built around what Alex is suggesting would be more interesting of the need. So
absolutely. Matter of fact, one thing we're doing now is kind of customizing collaborations, right? So being solution for what people need. So, offline, if we can have you having a call or whatnot, and Julie, to your point, to the whole group, actually, to see what their needs are. We come up with something that works for everybody. But Alex, for you specifically, I'll put in the chat my cell phone, and feel free to just contact me directly, so I understand more clear what you're looking for.
Say one more time what you thought would be more interesting, Alex.
Oh yeah, so Matt, and again, I'm not saying that we can do this right now, but what I was kind of thinking was, so what we usually have is for a situation, like instead of getting like a full appraisal on our property, right? Because in Seattle, say that can run you $1,000. If we could do like an interior BPO, that would be like $300, or even an exterior BPO, which is even cheaper, and then combine that with, say, a RealC or Matterport type link, that might be a substitution for like an actual appraisal. So that would be an interesting thing to look at.
No, to your point, I was at a trade show even last year, and I know that through this space that appraisals are it's okay to do an appraisal that way. So, but yeah, we can brainstorm on how it can be a solution. I mean, because ultimately someone has to scan it. So we have to have our network set up. But
my first thought is, I'm at EXP. Matt has a lot of relationships at EXP, and we have agents everywhere across the country and into North America, right? As well as internationally. And there might be a program we can set up, a group within EXP where the agents can be assigned the BPO, and you use the RealC technology to help with what you're requesting, Alex. That might be something we could talk about, but we can chat at that afterwards. Now that you guys know Matt exists and that this technology is going to be blowing up across probably the US here at a more favorable cost with all kinds of add-on bells and whistles. Just something for you guys to be aware of.
Hey, Albert.
Guys, so take my cell phone, send the chat. Anybody want to call, text me directly. Love to set up a call meeting. Otherwise, if you check out RealC, just go to the YouTube account, and RealC is spelled.
Can you grab it and put it in the chat, Matt?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. Yeah, let me figure that out without hanging up on everybody again.
I was
But
gonna say, hey, Albert, do you think that conventional world will ever go for something like this? Just do an extra BPO plus a Matterport type link or something?
I mean, if the guidelines allowed for it, but with the current guidelines, no.
So you're saying
that'd
we
be
got
nice.
you're saying we got to convince Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, huh?
Yeah, that's like trying to boil like the Indian Ocean. I'm trying to work on boiling a pond first before I try to boil an ocean. You know, so
I'm telling you, Matt's network is so huge with very VIP people involved. If you told us, Kathy, you all right there?
Sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought I was muted. Sorry about that.
Gotcha.
Let me
We're
mute myself.
making sure you're okay there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, something to consider, guys. We won't take up all our time on this today, but that's my friend Matt. And we have been closely aligned for years and years. And there you go. It's going to be exciting stuff. So maybe there's something that can come of this. Thank you, Matt, for joining us today. Didn't know you were
thanks.
coming.
No, I didn't either. I just saw the link, and thanks for letting me in. Joe, thanks for letting me come in. So appreciate that.
All right, guys, let's talk about what else is going on. Does anybody have anything they need help with on lending or deal structure or in a bad deal or worried about losing money, or what do you need help with today? And let's tackle that. Anybody? Any comments about anything? You guys are just
I was at a small meet yesterday where I was talking with two fairly experienced investors, and I will not name names, but they said that they're anticipating that a lot of like newer investors that kind of got into the game maybe a year or two ago, they're going to have a lot of notes that are coming due in the next few months, and they're going to have a lot of properties that they won't be able to sell at the number that they were anticipating. So the very experienced investors I mentioned were saying that, hey, they could be looking to pick up some of those properties and just be like, hey, as an investor, you're going to take as a seller, you're going to take a loss on this, but we'll get you out of that, 12% hard money note or something. So just something to kind of keep in mind. That
in the sense of getting them out, how, Alex?
They're just like, hey, look, if you don't want to get foreclosed on, they're going to come to them and just be like, hey, we'll buy this property off you for like 80 cents on the dollar. Or
I'll chime in on this. Yeah, you can either come in and just pay off the underlying hard money, or what we did following the last housing fallout was if they didn't want to take a total bath on it, you could go ahead and refinance if you had tenants in place. So we would set them up with a lease option, provide the lease to the lender, and then they could potentially refinance out of it into a longer term hold. So, I mean, there's a couple of different ways to salvage those deals.
And so how did you, as the investor, work yourself into that deal? You set them up with a lease option. You brought the tenant buyer?
I brought the tenant, but we brought the tenant buyer in, and what we would do is we would actually contract with we would have a lease and an option to buy with we did it a few different ways, but one of them would be to have a lease with an option to buy to the property owner.
The investor.
The property owner could now take that lease and say, hey, I have somebody who's paid, and a lot of times they'll want to see the first, few payments or something. And now I can refinance into a longer term, loan where I'm not going to be hemorrhaging as much. And there were times, by the way, where maybe that property owner might still have to subsidize some of the mortgage. So in other words, if the monthly payment was $2,500 and we were paying them $2,000 because we needed to make a spread for our rent, they were really happy to be paying $500 a month rather than $2,500 a month or more.
Right. And when you say you wanted to make a spread for your rent, you mean you were sandwiching it, right?
Yeah,
So
in some instances. I mean, again, there's like 5 different ways that you could exit these properties. You could, like Alex was saying, you could just come in and just, pay, 80 cents on the dollar or whatever for whatever their loan was, pay it off, or, but anyway, just pay off their loan and now you've got a property. Or you can do some different creative strategies as well.
For those of you that are on my team, there's some of you are on here, including Mariska, and who else is on here? Is Holly's on here? I don't know who else is on here. honestly, guys, one of the things that we need to talk about, and all of you need to be doing this, Willie, everybody who wants to work, is you guys should be building a list of tenant buyers. Boom. Totally building a list of tenant buyers right now. And
you want to qualify them. I mean, you don't want this is the thing where Larry and I perhaps differ from some of the lease option gurus who are out there. We actually want the tenant buyers to be able to buy. So we do some extra steps to make sure that they've got a very good chance of being able to exercise their option. Now, it's not on us whether or not they follow our advice or our plan or whatever to, take care of their credit issues or pay off debt or, whatever the thing is. But please don't be putting someone in there who does not have a chance in hell of being able to exercise and buy the property. If they don't buy, that's fine. You'll probably end up making more money, but you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, right, and that these people have a chance to buy. And so we actually ended up having probably a higher conversion rate than most people who do lease options. But
right. And the conversion is where you're making your big money on the back end on your spread, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, let's talk about that for investors that are in trouble. And the whole theme that I wanted to talk about today were alternatives to loss. Okay. Alternatives to loss. So Alex, you work for a hard money lender. You guys sure as shit do not want to be taking these properties back and foreclosing.
No.
Okay. We got Albert on the other hand, who's a conventional lender. So let's talk this through right now. Investor has a deal going bad that they're going to lose money on, right? Somebody like Mariska, myself, or my whole team that talks about this constantly, or yourself, figure it out, or come talk to us. We'll help you. You guys find a tenant buyer, either somebody like Mariska or myself, or, has a tenant buyer for you, or you go find your own. That tenant buyer, right, is going to put an option fee down that could potentially cover your extension fee with your hard money lender, because a hard money lender doesn't want to take it back, right? If you're a broker, that option fee, you can get paid your commission, something out of that option fee up front. Okay. The seller, the underlying seller, doesn't necessarily need to pocket any money because we're helping them out of a situation, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So that option fee is used to pay brokers or pay hard money lender extension fees, or help to cover that gap maybe between what you collect in rent from the tenant buyer and what you actually owe. Okay. And everybody needs to know about lease options right now, for God's sakes. And so the options are then what, Mariska, with Alex, who's the hard money lender, that investor is able to work out some sort of extension deal using the new rent, which is an option to buy as well. Now, here's the hair on this though, Mariska. That may not mean that seller investor has to take a loss.
They may not. They may just have to wait.
Right. It's just a runway of time, and a runway of time on the lease period that they get to exercise the option to buy means that the value of the home, if it's down now 10%, a year or two from now, it's going to go up. Right. So that investor doesn't have to take a loss. They're just needing the runway to keep the hard money lender paid. Right. Yeah.
And they also may make money. I don't want to say make money. They may just find themselves in a better financial position. And first, I'm going to give this caveat. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial planner. I can't tell you that this is going to happen, but typically you're going to pay the most taxes on a flip property. You're going to pay less taxes, possibly nothing, depending on how you are structured, if you hold that property for more than a year.
That's right.
So you have to convert it, okay, now this is going to be part of my long-term investment property. It's not going to be my flip property.
Right. And then if you count that tax savings,
that can be huge.
Pushed back a year, your 40% tax on a flip now gets pushed out to a full year on a lease option with exercising a year out. Now, all of a sudden you have a tenant in there You've converted that to a better taxable situation, most likely, or not CPAs for
And the
you.
tenant is covering that monthly
Win.
payment for you.
I mean, in a sick sort of way, you almost want it to happen because you might even still get your full sales price. You bought yourself a runway, your hard money lender doesn't want it back. You got option fee that's non-refundable to cover your extension with your hard money lender and your shortfall in the rent that the tenant buyer pays. And you're looking good. You just made money if you
Yeah.
sell it for the same thing you were going to sell it for now because you have a tax savings and you pop into, you know, instead of ordinary income tax, you can pop into capital gains tax. Alex, we should host something for your list of anybody who's in trouble to go over this, as long as we have a meeting with your team first on what your team's willing to do on that sort of thing. If you can float it by your team, Alex, is what I'm saying. And then let's talk to Albert. Albert, on the back end of this, if somebody were to put a tenant buyer in place, and how long would they need to collect rent at market rent, could be even higher, in order to qualify to be able to refinance out based on using the rent to help gap that income issue that investor, who half of them are broke, you know, and don't have great credit or income. Maybe that's not true. Maybe some of them do. But how long, what's the story on this lease portion of the lease option that works for you to get these people refinanced, Albert?
These tenants, what are they applying as? What's the hypothetical? Conventional, FHA, VA, they're all different. Even within conventional,
Probably
there's two
let's
types
call
of
it
conventional.
FHA, you know, let's start with
FHA.
each. Let's cover both.
You need a lease of 1 year. You have to have security deposit evidence. You know, Fannie Mae doesn't require that. But even within conventional, there's two types of lenders, right? There's Fannie and Freddie. Freddie requires a 1 year lease. Fannie doesn't. Freddie requires receipt of rent. So you got to actually prove you received it. Fannie doesn't even care if you received it or not. So it's actually, in a way, Fannie's a little bit better.
What's
depending
Fannie's
on what
minimum
Yeah.
lease term that they would look at?
It could be month to month or 1 year, which is nice because sometimes you don't want to go back to the seller or whatever and get them to re-sign a lease. Sometimes the buyer doesn't want to re-sign a lease either because they want to raise rents, for instance, when they take over. So there's you want to pick the right product for your situation, but
Yeah.
Honestly, we have a trifecta of love here. Literally, we can solve the problems right here between Alex's problems with the foreclosures, all the investors programs. I propose, honestly, Mariska and whoever else is on here that's on my team, let's make a proposal of a package that we can propose to hard money lenders such as Alex, and work with Alex, and then have Albert work with Albert on a takeout loan. And we really almost have a checklist, or somehow we build something, you guys, that we can offer as a parachute for these investors getting in trouble. You guys want to have a separate meeting about that, Albert?
sure.
Of
And
It's always
course.
best to,
That-
yeah.
that-
You know, Alex, you can ask your team, you know, what kind of terms, if you guys start running into these issues, that your team is willing to accept. And maybe you can let us know and we can build something around it to deliver to you.
I mean, and my brain starts going crazy because there's even more answers than what we've just talked about, potentially. So yeah, there's.
Actually, Mariska, I know we've got a lot going on this month, but why don't we build a meetup, a meeting that we
Specifically about this?
specifically about this.
Yeah.
And Alex, maybe you can talk to your team. We'll involve Albert here, and we will basically put it out as a invite to investors to learn about how to have these parachutes and runways that are getting caught. And at the same time, these are things that people should be thinking about from the beginning, but we want to address and help our investors, our friends here that find themselves in hot water, because we definitely can get them out of that hot water. And we just need to maybe build a a checklist of, if your situation looks like this, because not everybody qualifies the same.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just say, be careful about the definitely, because there are some situations that we've just had to say, I'm
Yes,
sorry, you're in a world of hurt, and I
Yeah.
wish you the best.
right.
Also the investor has to be willing to listen to it. I've had
Exactly.
borrowers just be like, no, you need to figure out a solution. I'm like, look, man, you're in a bad spot. You're gonna have some pain no matter what. And
Yeah. It's just
With
how
that-
bad do you want to hurt? How much do you want to bleed?
yeah.
Sometimes.
And
I totally agree, Alex.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Albert, ask your question.
Oh, I just typed it out to Alex because we only asked about income. He probably doesn't care because he's harder private money. But on conventional loans, we do ask for the VOM, verification of mortgage, that we want to make sure that the note being paid is not in delinquency. And in
Right.
your case, it is delinquent, right? It's in foreclosure or it's late or something like that, right? Julie?
We might be able to coach people through these option fees to catch up on their delinquency.
Yeah. And we did that, again, I can think of a few different examples where we worked with investors, back, following the 2008 fallout, and, they might have to, get current and, have a little bit of a track record before they could qualify for a refinance. But that's where having, a tenant in place who is, paying their monthly payment instead of it just sitting there empty with, a bunch of, saws and
Using a
whatever.
loan servicer and all that other jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this applies not only to the hard money lenders, but there's probably some conventional lenders out here that could use this conversation,
Well, Larry just had, Larry just, I guess, got home from an appointment, and Larry's like, shit, telling me about this conversation that he just got off the phone with this guy who we'd actually looked at a commercial property of his, and then he ended up calling us and talking to Larry about a primary, that has some additional living space, as well. I mean, it applies to a lot of people. It applies to people who are, sitting there on their property going, and eventually most primary sellers will overcome the, it's like, oh, wow, it takes more than, 24 hours on market to actually sell my house, and they'll get over that. But there are some who are very stuck on a price, very stuck on something, and it can be an exit for them as well. So
Absolutely. I got one right now working
Yep.
on. And there's, oh man, there's so many solutions. And I'm just going to remind you, this is what Mariska and I talk about every day. And a lot of you people here are well-versed and understand this stuff. But if you don't, you need to show up to Coeur d'Alene next month here.
oh, good one. Good one, Julie.
And not everybody on here is on here every week. So drop it in the chat, Larry. But Larry and Mariska here, as you can tell, they're very well versed in this, as well as myself and my entire VIP education community of brokers that I coach. And Mariska and Larry have a stellar Coeur d'Alene Real Estate Investor Summit coming up October, 21st and 22nd?
October 21st and 22nd.
All your friends are going to be there. We want to see you. We're going to hang out. And these are the types of things we're going to talk about while we're there. And also, we're going to have the most badass other people there to support the execution of what we've just described to you. The top lease option guy in the country, Joe McCall, is going to be there. Okay. I mean, I'm going to be speaking about how to actually converse with investors and homeowners and anybody. We have such the lineup to support what we just told you over here in Idaho in the next 3 weeks, that I hope you guys gas up your gas tanks, or we can start a sign up Genius for a carpool for you. And
and of course, Jeff Watson's going to be here too, And we had a conversation with Jeff yesterday, and he came up with this amazing, wonderful idea that we're using our HSA for a deal we're doing in Michigan. And so we've hired him to basically handle all the paperwork and everything else for that. And speaking of Joe McCall, he's actually going to be teaching a couple of sessions. We've got him doing lease options and also land as well too. And one thing that I'm really excited about is that basically, we've got some incredible people that we know personally, yourself included, Julie, Jennifer Beatles. God, there's just a whole
Odd
list.
Diamonds, yeah.
Diamond. It's really good. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun, and also
Jeff Watson did all my personal paperwork, also including my wholesale contract, including my personal. I have a concierge agreement that for any of the agents on my team, if you're an agent or anybody else, right? What I can do is I can loan your seller, not a loan. I can do a profit participation with your seller on a concierge platform. Your seller needs 5 or 10,000 or something like that. I can fund that to your seller as long as they are in a listing agreement. I don't like to do it on my own listings with my own money, but I teach my team of brokers that I can do this for you, you can do this for me. And the only way for these homeowners to get this money is that it's tied to a listing. Okay. Yeah. It's
the Curbio model.
It's the Curbio model for under $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm telling you guys, we are plugged and
that'll buy carpet and paint.
Right. So
fixtures.
Any of you other agents out there or investors that, let's say, these things are so deployable in this market that we're in. We have a bunch of smart people here, and we are always ahead of the curve, and we know how to pivot, and it doesn't matter what the market is. And I'll just tell you, this change in the market has 10 times my business right now because of everybody's willing to listen now. And you guys all need to know what these options are and these solutions are. And I like to use the word runway. A runway buys you time, and time is your friend. And that's really all you need, unless you're a Dumbo and you are hard-headed and you don't want to listen. A lot of times your solutions can be resolved, because remember, lenders don't want these properties back. And if you present to them a thoughtful, put together, professional, legal solution, they're going to listen. And you're not going to hurt yourself, right? You might even get yourself in a weirdly better position, as we just described.
We found that, not only for ourselves, but a lot of people that we worked with, we recently had somebody come to us and say, that solution worked so well for me for a few of my properties that I was sideways on. I'm now planning to do that as a number one exit strategy for property I'm buying. So it really can be a really great strategy. People just don't think about it because it requires, it does require time. It is a longer term play, but it can be much more profitable from a few different vantage points.
Does anybody have any questions about what we're talking about? All we're doing is we're bringing solutions to the table that extend the time, right? And if you listen to what Matthew Gardner, the top economist in our region, very well known, very well is Windermere's economist, basically, he thinks that rates are going to start adjusting back down earlier next year than we think. But if, talking to some of our other smart friends like Augie and Albert can weigh in on this, the thing that is unpredictable is the other shit that's going to happen, right? To impact things like energy crisis, global energy, or stock market crashing because of that, or alliances changing in the world due to global energy crisis, or wars and floods and all that other shit. Those things.
We've had so many locusts.
It's just crazy, right? But, anybody have any questions about what we're talking about? If you can buy yourself a 24-month runway, you're going to be looking pretty good, I think. And not only that, how about talking about doing your flips on a lease option? Lease with the option to make improvements, right? And buying yourself protection with a runway with that sort of setup. Right? We need to find somebody at the Coeur d'Alene event that can talk about how we can protect ourselves with a lease with the option to buy with the right to make improvements during your lease period. and how to protect your money. Go ahead, Mariska.
Oh, I was just going to say, we did a lot of that.
Absolutely. And what did you use? Did you put a, just that's what Curbio does with a lien. Okay. It put a deed on the property.
Yeah. You just have to cloud the title,
That's right.
And then make sure that you have the right verbiage, in your contracts, and do the right thing, be upright, honest, and ethical.
That's why having a third party involved is a good idea, to protect you, to make sure that you're being a good actor, and everybody, because remember, sellers can also be bad actors in that situation. You don't want a seller to be committing the property somewhere else, or putting financing on the property somewhere else when you're spending money on that. And there's ways to deal with that. You guys following how exciting it is? The reason why it's exciting is because people are willing to listen right now. And I'm going to tell you something about the opportunity about people willing to listen. We've had this tight market where everybody just wants to list their property and get their 10 offers or whatever, haven't been willing to listen. Okay. And in the past, I'm going to give you my historical perspective. Homeowners have thought investors are slimy. They think your cash offers are slimy. But thanks to prop tech and the disruption of real estate, we've had Zillow, Open Door, OfferPad going out there across the country. And they have opened, for lack of a little, no pun intended, they've opened the door for the rest of us. It's no longer slimy to offer a homeowner a cash offer or creative solutions. That's not suspect or slimy. In fact, they're raising their hand as that's what they want as their first option. So thank you, Zillow. Thank you, Open Door, OfferPad, for paving the runway for smart people like ourselves, whether you're an investor, a wholesaler, broker, investor, or just a broker, to have smart conversations. Okay. This is what I call modern real estate conversations. It's what my whole platform in life is built off. That's what my VIP education community is about, is teaching people, whether you're a wholesaler, investor, in my case, brokers, how to speak modern real estate. I coach the conversation of modern real estate. Okay. It is now ripe. I can teach you the words, how to easily, the golden words, how to convert. When you're in the house, you get called there for a cash offer. That's all you need to talk about, because that's what they called you for. How do you convert off that conversation into something else when you're there? Okay. It's easy. 4 simple words. Since I'm here anyway. Those are all the words you need. And then do you have 10 minutes? Because I think I have some other solutions that are better aligned with what you're looking for, since we've wiped the cash offer off the table and that net proceeds isn't going to work for you. Since I'm here anyway, do you have 10 minutes? And I can maybe suggest some other ideas to you. I'm not saying, okay, let's talk about listing your house. Never. Nope. Right? I'm not. Because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear other solutions, and you can speak intelligently to them and give them these other options of seller financing, lease options, wraps, loan assumptions, and all these other things, investor, other hassle-free options that might get them more money. And guess what? You are now trusted. You've built massive rapport, and they will take you if you're a broker and it ends up as a listing, or if you're an investor, a wholesaler, whoever you are that generates leads. Okay. My team is your concierge partner, because we are your modern real estate conversation partner. You don't need to know how to do this. You need to just introduce that you have a concierge partner that's going to be able to provide additional solutions. And then we will pay you when we get money off your lead. That's the relationship I have with some of the largest, deepest pocket marketers in the state of Washington that are also national. Why do they trust me? Because we understand how to have these conversations. It's that simple. You don't have to learn to be this expert. You just have to know you have to have your hybrid team in place. That goes for you, Alex, as a hard money lender, for your investors in trouble. That goes for you, Albert. We're going to tee you up with all kinds of pipeline business. Right? You just have to know who your hybrid team is Happy to teach you everything. Okay. Hang out with us. That's why you're here. You guys don't realize it. There's only how many people on here? This is the best fucking conversation in town, guys. And it's weekly and it's free. Okay. So show up. You want help outside of this? My number, I'm going to put it in the chat. We're here to help. Okay. We've been doing this for fucking 12 years for free. We're not charging you anything. In fact, we want to pay you. Boom. There's my number.
Whoop, we forgot the 2.
Not really. There's the Mr. 206. This is free help for all of you. Do you know why it's free? Because me and my team know how to get ourselves paid. We'll just pay you. We want to pay you. This isn't this is about building business. This is a network, right? We can teach you and are happy to teach you to do this on your own. If you need a wingman or wing gal, here we are. Do it yourself, use a wingman, whatever you want. We'll teach you everything, tell you everything. Okay. Go to Coeur d'Alene. Right? We don't have 8 hours a day to teach this to you. So we got to house it in things like this, where we can gather you together.
Yeah.
All right. And because we only have so much time in the day, my phone rings 24 hours a day, just like I'm sure Alex's does and Albert's does and Rishka and Larry's do. Right. We're here to be your concierge partner, your hybrid teammates, whatever you want. You got to show up. Show up here. Show up in Coeur d'Alene. Listen to the podcast. Text me. I'll call you when I'm free. Okay. Let's do it. Who's got questions? It's a very exciting time. Very exciting. You can get so many deals. You can get so many deals right now, you know? And what about for apartment, multifamily? We've got Andy, our friend Andy, who we love. Andy Young, Mr. Smooth, Mr. Fun, Mr. Good Looking. We love you, Andy. We're gonna throw him
Julie, I live in a basement and hide from my children. That's a bit much.
Hey, you and me both, brother. I told my kids today, I'm busy when I'm supposed to pick you up, find a way home. That's called 8th grade. You're out of the nest, right?
Dang.
One has their bike with them this morning. The other one is like, you know, free bus pass with me and my friends. I said, use it. Today's the day. There you go. They love it. It's called freedom, right? They're living the good life. Don't you worry. I have 9 8th grade girls sleeping at my house Friday night after their first dance, right? So,
Oh my God.
I'm doing my
So you need to have a day of
doing my part. Don't you worry. Yeah. Andy, I'll let you know how it goes. Every year you call me, I'll give you the roadmap for that year, brother. He's got
Yeah.
plans too.
Oh, okay.
Takes a village. What else you guys got? What else do you guys got? I want you to know, Albert, you can broker loans, right? You broker loans.
That's right.
I just got pending on a fat deal over in my hood here in North Beach. Okay. Listed at $1,350,000, almost a 3,000 square foot, perfectly move-in ready, fantastic bones with beach club access. Listed at $1,350,000 by my neighbor, my fellow agent at Windermere. These are my neighbors that were living in an AADU of a $3 million home in my neighborhood here that said, Julie, we're ready to get out of here and we want to buy a house. So long story short, was listed at $1,350,000, about 30 days on the market. They dropped to $1,300,000. I took them over there and I said, we're going to offer $1,225,000 and see what happens. And guess what? We slammed it in, got it, no pushback whatsoever. That's 10% under market value. Beautiful house. And we had the loan with somebody else that I introduced them to, and their landlords upstairs said, hey, call this person at Union Bank. And Union Bank, 2 days ago, when the market imploded, Albert, locked them in 2 days ago on the day that the investors, you couldn't figure out how to price stuff because nobody's buying your back end of your deals.
Yeah.
Locked them in on jumbo, no points, no buy down at 5.25.
Yeah. Union Bank's good for that. The only thing I don't like about them, because we broker them, is they just take forever. So I only send refis there because every purchase
Yeah.
I've had, the realtors are always calling me and yelling. And I'm like, it's Union Bank. What do you want?
Well, we
You
got a
want the rate?
30-day close.
Yeah.
We have a 30-day
know.
close on it. No problem. Everybody's happy. The sellers are just happy to have an offer. So we're in charge there, but that's a damn good rate. No points.
It is.
And the reason why I was asking Augie, what the hell? He's like, take it. Because they're hedging, I guess, that they maybe think that they're going to be able to get their deals sold or have more control. Why would they be able to offer that rate when nobody else could, Albert?
Well, most of their rates are based on short term. Their key products that they have are interest only, the 5-year, the 7-year ARM. That's their best product. And they're very flexible. The underwriters are really good. They're old school underwriters, so they don't run things through an automated underwriting approval machine. And, they're actually real humans who actually calculate stuff like the old way.
They
I
must
like them.
have
It's
some
just
confidence they're going to be able to sell their stuff on the back end.
Nah, I mean, they usually portfolio. I assume
Okay, there you go.
That's the difference.
That's the difference right there.
Yeah.
So who are the portfolio lenders? We don't need to know because Albert can take you there.
Well, US Bank bought Union Bank. So US Bank had a good 10% no MI jumbo program. Rate was pretty good as well.
I heard Wells Fargo, but who likes to use them?
Yeah, Wells, you got to have a lot of money, or you got to move some money over to the private bank or something. You'll get great rates too, but you got to move like $500,000 or something. You don't have to leave it forever.
You know
just
who?
gotta be able to.
Albert, have you checked into Bank of the West?
I heard they're good with their HELOCs.
You need to check into Bank of the West. I have some commercial. If you guys need a commercial lender, I have got a fantastic, freaking awesome problem solving, gets crazy deals done commercial lender for you at Bank of the West.
Is it Lynn?
It's Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn's cool.
Yeah, I'm listing her personal. If anybody needs right now, a little tip, if anybody's looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,180 square foot, freaking heart of Wallingford over by Gasworks Park condo, I got one for you right now. It's actually Lynn's. I'm listing it next week.
Yeah. They're also one of the few who will do adult family homes up to 75 LTV. If you have experience, no experience, like 60 LTV. But
I
very
also
few
have-
lenders.
Yeah.
I was going to say very few lenders do senior care facilities.
Well,
Few.
I've got a person in my network. You guys know Joseph Spada? You guys know Joseph? He's like the dude in town for adult family homes, right? I could just almost look at what he closed and his team closed, and I could see who the lenders were on those and tip you off. That's a good way to backdoor stuff. If you know who does what, like I do, all I have to do is look and see who the lenders are they're putting on those deals. And that's a tip for a lot of I think we totally hooked up Rick Romatowski the other day on that for his backyard dadoos that he's trying to get off in Crown Hill right now. I'm like, just go look who sold stuff on that street you're on. There's like 10 of them and you'll see who the lenders are. It's kind of, sometimes it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
So this is it, guys. Our network here, our collective network here is so freaking rad. We can pretty much.
I'll just throw something out too, since we're talking about banks and what have you. And we learned about this from a group over here in Coeur d'Alene. Banner Bank right now for people who are, wanting a HELOC, and maybe they haven't like established themselves as far as an investor. They are offering a HELOC up to 80%, $100,000 with no income verification.
That's all you need.
Right?
And reminder, any of you ballers out there that have stock portfolios, I diversify, so I have one. Yeah, it's down. My dude's been out buying me $100,000 notes at 16% returns that are built in with fluctuation up and down in the market, because there are smart investors out there in that whole world that are putting together packages where they know what their spreads are ahead of time. And then therefore they're able to sell these notes. I mean, I'm killing it on that shit, even though That's a whole nother subject. We won't go there, but you guys realize if you are techies or anybody out there that you can borrow a line of credit against your stock portfolio without cashing in your investments. And that's probably the cheapest money you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right.
That, or if you've got a cash value life insurance or something, that's another good one.
That's right. I should have somebody on the podcast to talk about that, even though all our tech friends, not only are they getting laid off, our Meta friends, our Facebook friends, a lot of startup people are starting to get laid off, you know?
Oh, really? Julie?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yes,
I've been
Wow.
hearing that too.
big time. Yeah.
I was
So
at a meetup and there was like 5 Amazon people though that moved into the Bellevue office. They were from Ohio, Pennsylvania, all sorts. And one was like international from South
I
America.
haven't heard about Amazon layoffs. Actually, I have
Yeah.
heard a bit about Amazon. I've heard a lot on Meta, Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The guy was saying he was occupying the new buildings on 10th and Bellevue Way and 10th. So I know I'm like that's like up the street from where I'm at. And so apparently Amazon's still hiring, but the other people are laying off.
I don't know. I don't know which company, you know, are laying off, but I did recently see a post, I think, in maybe Wari or somewhere in my world, I'll have to go look for it, naming some of the companies that were laying
I
off.
saw that post as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
all you got to do, honestly, is follow TechCrunch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Our local, you know, follow TechCrunch. That is a really good thing. You guys need to be following TechCrunch. And if you really want to be a baller, you should be following what's the paper? The Daily Journal of Commerce. If you want to break into commercial real estate and you want to understand what's going on, you need to follow TechCrunch and you need to follow Daily Journal of Commerce. In fact, Mariska, Alex, Albert, I'd like to talk to you guys about getting a booth at some of the TechCrunch event.
Oh,
Yeah, it'd be a really
Interesting.
great place for us to team up and
like
have
that.
a powerful
Oh, yeah.
trifecta of getting investors, people who want to get their licenses, private money type stuff. Can I assign that job to somebody? Mariska, maybe? Holly, house
to see
hack.
about-
Holly, you get on that for the house hack stuff. Somebody follow up and figure out when the Techstars, and Techstars too, but the TechCrunch events are coming up in 2023, and let's plan something.
Yeah. So TechCrunch, and what was the other one?
Well, Daily Journal of Commerce, but those Daily Journal and Puget Sound Business Journal as well holds events, networking events.
Mm-hmm.
Can you check on Puget Sound Business Journal,
Mm-hmm.
Daily Journal of Commerce? That's more a newspaper for commercials.
Right.
But that's insightful on what's going on for opportunities there. And
I thought you said something like tech. Well, I'm not from.
Stars.
I'm not a techie, so TechStar. Okay.
Techstars is a business incubator program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and TechCrunch is a blog, you know, news, you know, organization for that. Anyways, so many opportunities for all of you guys that are investors that want to raise money. You go to these events and you network with these people. They all want to get into investing. Why do you think there's 2,000 members at Amazon's shit hosted by like Justin Canberra and those guys, you know? So we're going to do our own. We don't need to work there. We just need to show up. So
A lot of groups are trying to get in on that Amazon group.
they sure
'Cause
are.
they-
We don't need to be in on the
Yeah.
Amazon group. We can show up to some of these events and we're going to crush them. You know, we're going to crush our knowledge. Our collective genius knowledge is, I mean, we don't want to crush them because they're our friends. We want to collaborate with them because collaboration equals confidence. Okay. You got to have an abundance mindset here, guys. There's too much business for us all to do. We're just going to do it together. We're going to support each other and do it together. There's no competition that's even, we don't need to worry about that. Right. So, you know, somebody that's trying to outdo somebody else, they're not the right mindset. You know, we love everybody. We use each other. I don't need to be the expert at investing out of state for my people in my world and my team. Why? Because I'm buddies with Jennifer Beatles, right? And she makes it easy for us to collaborate with her, right? So I don't need to do that. I don't need to become a lender. I just need to know Albert, right? I don't need to, I got too many, I want to snowboard with my kids, man. I just bought the damn racks. It cost me
There's
$1,000.
something to be said
I
about
did everything.
lifestyle.
You know who we all want to be here? We all talk all this shit about financial freedom. You know,
Joe.
we want to be
Joe.
Joe. Look at how
That's
happy
right.
he is and how hot and beautiful and good looking he is with his new van coming. Did you sell that or what?
Oh, Joe got a new van? Oh, that's cool.
We have a new van being built right now, and ours is for sale. And we have 2 offers that are contingent upon financing. So we're waiting on those.
And what town are you presently in now?
Fruta, Colorado, which is
Oh.
great for anybody that likes mountain biking or just pretty stuff.
Because we were talking to Claude the other day and we mentioned, we said, I said, you remember Joe Bauer, right? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, he was in Winter Park. He goes, you're kidding. So anyway, you should have connected, but oh well.
Well,
Joe.
we'll be there again.
Joe, if
There you
you
go.
happen to get into town around October if you get homeless while you're waiting for the van, you should come to Coeur d'Alene because those are all your sports people are. And that would be really great networking for your whole world on, Fantastic Life and the Get Better project. In fact, swag me out before I get there, brother, so I can bring that stuff with me to Coeur d'Alene. Right?
Heck yeah. I mean, if it works out, then I will definitely be headed there. We have the first time in like 5 years that we do not know what we're going to do from now until March when we get in the van. So if we sell the one van, then things will kind of fall into place, but that has to happen.
That sounds like a first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then let's just say, even though maybe nobody here is from Florida, but you might have family in Florida that we're going to give you all our vibes, all our good feelings. And, we just had Jay Scott on the podcast. I don't even think it's dropped yet. And where isn't Joe McCall out there somewhere?
He's in Missouri. He's in St. Louis.
Is he in St. Louis? Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we know we've had our friend Kevin Kalinsky that's been on our podcast. We know that who's the OG, old school, who's the most famous guy who hosts the events, Mariska, what's his name, that's in Florida? Old guy that everybody learned everything from. Why are we drawing a blank? You know who I'm talking about?
Do you mean
Ron LeGrand.
No? More popular than Ron LeGrand. Who's our guy? I don't know why we're drawing a blank. Old school Florida.
Fortunato.
Pete Fortunato.
Yeah.
Pete Fortunato. Somebody needs to
Fortunato.
check up on him.
Yeah. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on him as well. Yeah.
Right.
Super creative dude. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, 12:32. I got to go meet a contractor. Thank you for showing up. I hope we've inspired you that no problem is a problem until it's a problem. Let's go get after it here. And myself, Mariska, Albert, everybody's available to help you guys. You know how to reach us. DM us if you can't remember our numbers. Go get some deals. Just go have some conversations. Go have conversations. Everybody's willing to listen now. So if you haven't been marketing because you thought, it's a no, they're listing anyways. Right now, it doesn't matter. You need to start your marketing. Go do your driving for dollars. I'll tell you what, because you showed up and I love you guys, you send me a list of, up to, we'll say 250, maybe 500 if I'm feeling generous. I will skip trace it for free for only the people that are on here today. Okay. And I will get you the phone numbers, email addresses, and you'll get notified if they're on the do not call list. I love you guys. I want to help you. I want to give you all kinds of everything I can do for you for free. So anybody who's on here today, somebody's keeping track. It's not me. I will do that for you. Just send me your spreadsheet to julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com. I'll run it for you. I'm going to say up to 250. If nobody else shows up, I'll give you another 250, because I don't want to up my bill, because I give this free to my team, my VIP brokers. Everybody gets this free from me. And let's all help each other grow. It's the time to do it. Time to get off the sidelines, right? Time to quit just listening and take some action. Let's go. And I'll see you next week. See you guys.